The brave things in the old tales and songs. Adventures, as I used to call them. I used to think that they were things the wonderful folk of the stories went out and looked for. Because they wanted them. Because they were exciting and life was a bit dull. A kind of a sport, as you might say. But that's not the way of it with the tales that really mattered, or the ones that stay in the mind. Folks seem to have just been landed in them, usually. Their paths were laid out that way, as you put it. But I expect they had lots of chances like us, of turning back, only they didn't. And if they had, we shouldn't know, because they'd have been forgotten. I wonder what sort of tale we've fallen into. This is a story about a group of people who love God, love each other, and love their neighbors. Like any story, this one is full of characters. People who live their lives completely unaware of the story they found themselves in. To these people, this is life. You'll find them on job sites. You'll find them raising children, taking care of customers, and carrying about business as usual. You might be thinking there's got to be more to a great story. You'd be wrong. This is exactly the kind of environment needed for a great story. Real life. People living and breathing and responding to the world they're in with a heart of compassion. People on the hero's journey.
I was laid off from my job in February of 2017. So from then, I took basically my last paycheck and I went to Walmart and bought me some camping supplies. And I found an area in the woods and I pitched a tent. So I was homeless. So I woke up one morning and a couple guys was calling for me outside. I heard people's voices and I went outside and they greeted me and they told me they was LFCN Church. And they had said that they didn't want to scare me off. But the pastors and the pillars of the church would like to speak to me and see if they could, help me out of my situation and figure out if there's a way they could be of help to me. They asked me did I ever had come to the food pantry, and I told them yes, I had, and I had met the people at the food pantry, and I was actually going there that morning.
I've been working with the food pantry for several months, and just the first time I did it, I fell in love with the service and the way it was done. The people I love because we can build relationships with the people that come in. They get to know us by name, we know them by name. And I think that the food pantry is an amazing ministry that this church has that touches so many lives.
Compassionate ministry at LFCN is always looking to meet people in need, right where they are. We don't have to look further than our own children. They need our investment and energy. They need strong examples of faith.
Growing up in the children's ministry here, it really gave me a strong foundation for my faith. And so I think knowing the foundation that I got from this children's ministry made me want to give kids that same experience.
The kids are the generation that's to come. So we matter to these kids because we're showing them who Jesus is. And you may not know how much of an impact you have on that kid's life. You could spend a little bit of one-on-one time with them, and you really may not even know that you're planting that seed with just that one kid. That one kid matters.
And you never know how it's going to impact a child into what they might grow up to be and how they could change the world.
Every hero needs their guide, like a son searching for his father's face, or a daughter for her mother's smile. So we find ourselves in a position of building a legacy of faith and sacrifice.
I look back at my history in the Church of the Nazarene, and I think of my grandparents and my great-grandparents and the things that they did, and I benefited from that. That was their time, and I can look back and I can appreciate that and be thankful for that and realize that was their time and they were faithful. This is our time. This is the part that we play. We see this building, we've seen the evidence of the other buildings and other campaigns, and yet that has been other people at those times, and they've stepped up to the plate and they were faithful. And now it's us. God is choosing to use us. He calls us to be good stewards, I think because He's the ultimate good steward. And when we see where He's blessing, I think that's a sign that He understands, I feel my resource can be safe there. And so as He then blesses us, I think that's actually a sign that I'm trusting you. Now, I'm giving to you, I'm blessing you. Now, my expectation is that you will manage that wisely. Are you going to do your part now to come in with partnership with me and manage the resources that I've given you and that I'm going to give you?
So here we are, on the edge of a grand adventure, the soil of our everyday lives, ready for the seed of faith to take root. Because in this everyday life, great stories are written, and every great story begins with an invitation to change the world. Consider this, your invitation.